What's up, y'all? Welcome back to the channel. Bringing you another Spikemuth team here. This one is featuring uh, Suicune, Sylveon, Entei, Latios, Amoongus, and Rillaboom. So I really feel like Suicune and Entei are two of the strongest mons in this format. Really like Sylveon as well. I'm running a little bit of a different Sylveon set here. We do have a Calm Mindset, but also running the Grassy Seed as one of Sylveon's biggest problems is its middling defense stat. So with the Grassy Seed, this is going to boost her defense up. We are running it with quite a bit of defensive investment here. And then once you get a couple Calm Minds up, make you super bulky. We'll get your special attack up to a good amount, and then you'll be all set. Pairing it with Suicune. We are also running a Calm Mind set here on Suicune with the leftovers. One of the main reasons we're not running leftovers on Sylveon because we have them here on Suicune. Another really great thing about Suicune is inner focus, so it keeps it from flinching, so no fake out when you pair this with Entei. Then you can kind of shut down those fake outs from Rillaboom and Incineroar, and paired together they really cover each other nicely. Suicune covers Incineroar for Entei, and then Entei covers Rillaboom for Suicune. Do have quite a bit of defensive investment here on Suicune. It will live Grassy Glide in most cases. Um, of course, if it's a crit or something, it's not going to. Leaf Blade from Kartana, Wood Hammer, probably not going to take those, but as long as it'll live just a Grassy Glide from Miracle Seed Rillaboom, then we're sitting pretty. Give us a chance to get up our Tailwind. So Suicune is really good with Scald or with Snarl, but I felt like Protect was a lot more important because despite it not being able to flinch to fake out, Protect is just really good for positioning. So we have Tailwind, Scald, Calm Mind, and Protect. I did forget to mention the moveset on Sylveon. We are running Hyper Voice, which with Pixelate is going to be a 90 power fairy move that hits both targets. Then we are running Calm Mind, and then we do have Substitute as well. That way we can punish passive play. Then moving on over to Entei, I've changed this up a little bit. I was running Assault Vest Entei just to deal with my Aleki matchup. That's because I was running Kartana on this team before. But I did switch over to Expert Belt. Again, Entei running Inner Focus as well. It's got Sacred Fire, 50% chance to burn. That is huge. That way, if we can get those burns, that is massive. Then we're running Stomping Tantrum. That way we have some ground coverage and extreme speed for some priority. I did move over to Expert Belt. That way I could add Protect on Entei as well, as I found there were a lot of times when I was needing to protect and wasn't able to. The bulk from the Assault Vest is nice, but I felt like it could be utilized better somewhere else. So do have a fairly bulky Entei spread here with investment into HP, max attack, and then a decent amount of speed here. That way we can outspeed everything under Tailwind. I was running a little bit slower, but decided to boost up the speed just a hair. Then another really cool mon that we're running here, that's going to be Latios. And Lati is really good in this format. We're running it with a Life Orb. It does have Levitate. That way we can switch in on those ground moves for Entei. We're running Draco Meteor, which is just a really great dragon move just because it's such high power. Sometimes you just need to break through something. So you want to go with Draco Meteor. Just drop a Draco. The only problem with that is it does lower your special attack for by two stages. So you want to be sure you're able to switch out or in a position where it's not going to matter too much before you drop a Draco. Then we are running Psyshock. That way we can hit on the defensive side as opposed to the special defense. And then Ice Beam for some coverage and of course Protect. I am just running 252 timid spread here on Latios. I do plan to adjust this somewhat, but I feel like there are a bunch of threats right around this speed tier that I want to be able to outspeed even if Tailwind's not up. And Latios is here to do damage, so we give him max special attack here as well. And then this little guy here helps us with Trick Room. It is Amoongus, and of course he is running the Rocky Helmet. Great switch in for Water Urshifu. He's going to take at least half from Rocky Helmet damage. It's a sassy nature, 236 HP, 116 defense, and 156 in special defense. Makes him really, really bulky. Of course, we're running Spore, Rage Powder, and then last move of choice, I went with Pollen Puff. Sludge Bomb is a good choice here as well, but I feel like having Pollen Puff to be able to heal up your allies if you need it is very, very vital. And Pollen Puff does hit Rillaboom, Serena, those sort of mons super effectively. And then last, of course, we have Rillaboom. I was tried out, played in a tournament earlier today and ran Kartana, but I feel like having the priority with Rillaboom is just very, very valuable, as well as Fake Out. Without having Rillaboom on the team, I was really, really missing having Fake Out. So, Rillaboom just really helps with positioning because of the Fake Out as well as U-turn. So even if I don't lead exactly right, I can switch in Rillaboom, Fake Out, U-turn out, and just get a little bit more positioning. That's the team I used today. I was actually running Kartana, as I mentioned, as well as Alolan Ninetales instead of Sylveon. And it is a really, really great team. Having the screen support with Aurora Bell really, really helps, especially with a bulky team like this. But I felt like A9 just was not doing enough damage. So, and then Kartana is just so frail. So we switched it out, got some priority, got some more setup, and I feel like this team is just a lot stronger than it was previously. So, just wanted to go over my thoughts on the team, why I made the choices that I did. Now we will get into some battles. Alright, we're going to try something a little different this time. I'm just going to commentate on some battles that we already had. I got a couple that really highlight how this team works and the strengths of it. This first one against a hard Trick Room team here with Lurantis, Moltres G, Sableye, Cofagrigus, Primarina, and Duraludon. So, starting off here, we're just going to go right into Sylveon. We're also going to lead Entei here. That way, in case they lead Duraludon, we have Sylveon's Steel weakness covered here. And if they do happen to lead Primarina, then we can just switch out into Rillaboom. So, as you see, they lead Sableye, Cofagrigus. We bring in Sylveon and Entei. So we switch right out into Rillaboom. That way we can activate our Grassy Seed. Sableye protects here. And while we Calm Mind, so now Sylveon is set up as they Trick Room. They're going to disable Calm Mind, but that's fine because we're going to use Hyper Voice and U-turn out with Rillaboom. We're going to bring in the Shroom here as they bring in Duraludon. So they bring in Duraludon. We have Sylveon set up here, so I'm not too worried about Duraludon. Obviously, we're going to Spore Duraludon here because Cofagrigus is just going for disables. It would suck if they disable Hyper Voice, but it wouldn't be the end of the world. So we Spore Duraludon as we protect. We wanted to make sure we got the Spore off if they protect it. So they disable Spore. That's okay. We just paw and puff the Cofagrigus. But look at this. They body press. Also notice that Sylveon was faster than Duraludon there in Trick Room. That is going to come into play later. So, but look at the damage that this Hyper Voice does after the Calm Mind here. Disable the Spore. Then they go Body Press, which does almost nothing. Hyper Voice does 3/4 to Duraludon. Of course, it wakes up, and Flash Cannon does not even get close to picking up the KO there, thanks to our boost. So they bring out Moltres. We bring in Rilla to get the fake out pressure. They're going to protect Moltres because they know Sylveon is the fastest on the field under Trick Room. That is exactly why we brought in Rilla, so we could fake out Moltres here. I guess they expected us to fake out Duraludon, you know, because Sylveon is not weak to Moltres, but we don't want to get flinched by a Fiery Wrath here. So, we fake out Moltres, and we take another Flash Cannon. Sylveon takes that like a champ, and just gets the KO on both. Sylveon's looking super, super strong in that match. That really highlights why I chose to run Sylveon on this team over Tapu Lele or Tapu Fini. Of course, I didn't go with Fini because we're already running Suicune. Lele would be a good choice on this team, but I feel like Sylveon just really shines, especially if especially paired with the Grassy Seed as well as the Calm Mind. So let's go into the other battle here. This one is against a Sand team. They've got Tyranitar, Ferrothorn, Finny, Dusclops, Dracozolt, and they have Tornadus. So here we're going to lead Suicune and Rillaboom. That way, if they lead Tornadus and try to taunt us, we can fake him out. I also led Rillaboom. That way, we can fake out Dracozolt and make sure that we get up the Tailwind here. Because Suicune is going to be outsped, even under Tail Room, by Dracozolt. But you see, we'll play around that. So, they bring out T-Tar and Dracozolt. So they actually protect Zolt here, which was smart on their part. So we get off the Tailwind. They pay back on Rilla, bring him down to half. So we just let Suicune go down to the Bolt Beak here. We're going to U-turn out. That way we can bring out Sylveon, get that defense boost. Take the payback, and then we bring back in Rillaboom for the fake out pressure here. Now Sylveon putting a huge pressure on Tyranitar. Tyranitar just goes down to the Glide there. I kind of figured they were either going to protect there or do what they did and switch out. So we just go for the Hyper Voice, of course resisted by Ferrothorn, but that's okay. They are going to, let's see what they do here. They bring out Finny here, that way they can change the terrain. We just hard swap into Entei. They got me here. They just tricked a Choice Scarf onto Sylveon. So I already had my defense boost. I was planning on getting a Calm Mind here and just bulking up. But they tricked before Calm Mind, so now I am locked into Calm Mind. So, we have to just hard swap into Rilla here. We take the Scald. Entei is a champ, And then we do get the burn on Ferrothorn here, which was huge. Entei goes down to the body press. So now we bring back out Sylveon. In both of these videos, Sylveon has been the MVP by far. So I'm not sure why they hard swapped in. Let's watch it again. Not sure why they hard swapped into Dracozolt there, because Zolt uh, could definitely threaten with a Bolt Beak there because it's going to be faster, and without the Grassy Seed, Sylveon's defensive, physical defensive bulk is not the greatest. So they don't want to lose Finny. We have terrain. I guess they just needed terrain control, so they switched out. That does a ton of damage to Ferrothorn there. Um, the Hyper Voice did much more than I expected there to bring Ferrothorn down. That burn really doing good to offset the recovery. So this is a very fast Finny here. Very fast, but we get the crit luckily there on Ferrothorn to take it out. So now we have a 1v1 versus Finny and Sylveon. This is a pretty fast Finny. Obviously, it was running a choice Scarf. Sylveon not that fast, so even with the Scarf, Finny is going to outspeed us here. So they get off a Moonblast. That does 27 to Sylveon. We get a Hyper Voice that does 31. They get the defense drop again. So all 3 times they got the defense drop, but Sylveon still clutches it out and takes the 1v1 against Finny. So that was very, very, very cool match to really get to see Sylveon shine there. So now that I've shown off the team a little bit, I just wanted to go back to the Pokepaste here and just show off. I did make some slight adjustments here. I did add a slight bulk onto Latios here. I do like the speed because that gives us, I believe it's 1 point faster than max speed Kartana. So we invest a little bit of bulk, HP defense and special defense, and drop just a little bit of special attack. Again, this Sylveon set is great. Only 4 speed, only 36 special attack. As you could see, even without getting set up, it still hits very hard with that pixelated Hyper Voice. But if you can get in, activate the Grassy Seed, then get up, even just 1 Calm Mind, you are going to be so bulky, and that will put your special attack right where you need it to be. This Suicune set also very, very good. We focus mainly on defense investment here. That way to help them match up against Rillaboom, because at some point you are going to take a Grassy Glide. With these EV spreads, you're going to be able to take at least 1 and then, get off the move that you need to get. You can consider running Mystical Fire on Sylveon. I have some other sets where I do run it. I do feel like Sub is a little bit better. That way you can punish passive play if you are facing off against Leech Seed Celesteela or Leech Seed Ferrothorn. You can put up that Sub. That way you don't get seeded, which of course Mystical Fire would do very well into those, but a boosted Hyper Voice will eventually break through as well. And you have the tools surrounding them to get through that. That's why Entei is here. Covers that steel weakness and gives us fire and ground coverage, as well as, like I mentioned before, priority and extreme speed. Extreme speed on Entei is a very, very good move, with it being a high base power priority move. So you could Could run some more support options with Latios. I really like it here for the damage though, so I just choose to go three attacks. And of course, since Suicune is running Tailwind, Latios doesn't need to carry it. Another move you could consider for Sylveon is Helping Hand. I really like that as well. Um, but if you're going to get Sylveon set up, most of the time you're not going to want to Helping Hand, but it can be a good option just because Sylveon is so slow, and a Helping Hand can really help break through stuff sometimes. Like I mentioned before, Rocky Helmet Amoongus is very, very good. Um, I definitely need to work on using Amoongus more. There are a lot of times outside of Trick Room where he could be good with his redirection and the switch in, get off some chip damage, and then regenerate out, as well as Palm Puff healing up. Can be very, very valuable. And then a couple of options you can run here on Rillaboom, high horsepower, of course, as well as knockoff are both very, very good moves, but I feel like having the strong grass move that isn't a priority move is great into the Serena matchup. Because unlike when there's no grassy terrain, if you try to grassy glide with terrain when Serena is on the field, you just won't move at all. So that's when Woodhammer is good. They try to switch in Serena. You just hit Woodhammer and actually do more damage than you would have otherwise. It is very good for breaking through stuff, in particular Finny, where one Grassy Glide might not do it. I do really, really like this EV spread. Um, Actually have some speed investment on this one. That way, hopefully you are the fastest Rillaboom on the field. That way you can get your fake out off as well as your U-turn first. And of course, most of the time, Entei is going to underspeed you anyway, even if you have no investment. So that terrain battle will go to Entei, whereas Lele, usually Finny are going to be a little faster usually. But you can play around with that speed investment. I've found that I really, really like this. So try it out. Let me know what you think. If you have success with it, let me know. All right, y'all have a good one.